a 2007 interview, Kim Kardashian denied the existence of an intimate tape. "There's no tape. Ray J's not the kind of guy who would do something for revenge. There's no amount of money that could ever convince me to release any tape. Even if I had one, I don't need the money," she told Complex at the time. But then just a few months later, a tape of her and Ray J was released. "I apologize for not publicly being honest, but no one wants to hope that that's the truth, and you hope that it will never come out, so I felt like at the time that's all I could have said," Kim said. So yes, there was a tape, and Kim sued Vivid Entertainment for ownership of the tape. In late April 2007, Kim dropped a suit against them and settled for $5 million. Now all the blame was put on Ray J for releasing the video. But after all these years, Ray J maintains his innocence. He said, "I've sat in the shadows for over 14 years, allowing the Kardashians to use my name, to abuse my name, make billions of dollars over a decade and a half, talking about a topic I've never really spoken about. I've never leaked anything, I've never leaked a tape in my life," he said. Now he claims that Kim and her mother Kris Jenner negotiated the release of the tape in the early 2000s. Now Kris apparently watched 3 different Ray J and Kim tapes and chose to leak the one that gave her daughter a better look. Now that's true, that is just very gross. Now Kris has denied playing a role in getting her daughter's tape released, and she even took a lie detector test on the James Corden show. But Ray J is still adamant that they did help. Looking back, Ray J said he is embarrassed of the tape. When asked, he said, "Yes, he is embarrassed, mostly for his children. I have kids now, everything I did now when we have kids is just totally different. The whole thing is wacky. With my kids, I'm not okay," Ray J said. Now we all thought this was done in 2007, but in 2022, there were rumors that there was another tape. In the end, Kanye West went and met with Ray J to get the rest of the footage, or so he says. Ray J said that all the intimate tapes were kept at Kim's house in a shoebox under her bed. "I mean, this is all a lie. Since we first released this tape, this has been the biggest lie in the history of the entertainment industry," he said. "They're not letting the world know that there are a bunch of tapes that we made, but they're not going anywhere because she has them all," Ray J said. So was the whole thing with Kanye a lie then? I don't know, and I honestly don't know who to believe. Now in 2013, Reese Witherspoon's husband, Jim Toth, was arrested for drunk driving. Reese was in the car with him in the passenger seat while also intoxicated. The police report said that Miss Witherspoon began to hang out the window and said she did not believe I was a real police officer, the arresting officer wrote. After she defied his order to stay in the car and started ranting about her right as an American citizen to stand on American ground, he handcuffed her and she went the full cliche, "Do you know my name? You're about to find out who I am. You are going to be on national news." Now Reese was arrested and charged of disorderly conduct due to this. She then later released a statement apologizing for her behavior to police. She said, "I clearly had one drink too many and I am deeply embarrassed about the things I said. It was definitely a scary situation and I was frightened for my husband, but that's no excuse. I was disrespectful to the officer who was just doing his job. I have nothing but respect for the police and I'm very sorry for my behavior." Yikes, that is just truly embarrassing. Now when she was a teenager, Britney Spears famously said that she was saving herself for marriage. Some people question this though, because at the time she was dating heartthrob Justin Timberlake. But Britney maintained that she was not intimate with him. Now that was until after they broke up and Justin told the truth. In a radio interview with Star and Buck Wild from 2002, Justin was asked whether he had been intimate with Britney and he laughingly replied, "Okay, yeah, I did it." Now this made many fans mad at Justin for revealing and bragging about this, but the heat was also put on Britney for not being as innocent as she appeared to be. Then to top it all off, just recently, Britney revealed in her memoir that she terminated her pregnancy when she became pregnant with Justin's child. "It was a surprise, but for me it wasn't a tragedy. I love Justin so much, I always expected us to have a family together one day." She then wrote, "But Justin definitely wasn't happy about the pregnancy. He says we weren't ready to have a baby in our lives, that we were too young." She went on to describe the procedure as one of the most agonizing things I've ever experienced in my life. Now, it also was an at-home termination as she didn't go to a clinic as she didn't want anyone to find out. Now, not to mention, she also found out that Justin cheated on her with multiple people. Now, Mel Gibson has a whole list of controversies. The Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, GLAAD, accused Mel of homophobia after a December 1991 interview with the Spanish newspaper El Paso, which he made a derogatory comment about gay people. Now, Mel later defended his comments and rejected calls to apologize, even as he faced accusations of homophobia. Then later, on July 28, 2006, Mel was arrested by Sheriff's Deputy James Mee of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department for driving under the influence, a DUI, while speeding in his vehicle with an open container of alcohol. But when he was arrested, he went on a disgusting rant just being extremely racist. Then in July 2010, he had been recorded during a phone call with his now ex-girlfriend and said some pretty horrible things that I cannot repeat. Now, due to that, he was barred from coming near her or their daughter due to a restraining order. His controversial statements resulted in him being blacklisted from Hollywood for almost a decade, which is good because he seems to have just like a lot of issues. Now, Shia LaBeouf has been involved in many legal matters, as in 2007, authorities were called to a Chicago Walgreens after Shia, who was admittedly on the sauce, refused to leave the store. Now, after authorities arrived on scene, he was arrested, and then during a performance of Cabaret featuring Alan Cumming and Michelle Williams, Shia was allegedly hurting patrons and hurling threats at authorities upon their arrival on the scene. He was then charged with criminal trespass and disorderly conduct. Then, in July 2017, he was arrested for public intoxication and a few other charges after being refused a cigarette. He then became aggressive with authorities and was taken into custody. Then, in 2020, he was charged with misdemeanor battery and petty theft after an incident involving the theft of a man's hat. He's also been accused many times of mistreating his partners and was even caught on camera having an argument with Mia Goth that had to be broken up by passerbys. Then, he even reportedly got into a physical fight with Tom Hardy while they were filming Lawless. Now, again, it seems like he has a lot of anger issues. Now, when Joaquin Phoenix was filming the hit movie Joker, there was some behind-the-scenes drama that was caught on camera that makes him look very bad. Joaquin went off on the cinematographer Lawrence Larry Sher. Joaquin thought no one except the crew would know about this incident, but when he made an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel to promote Joker, Jimmy played the outtake from Joker sent in by director Todd Phillips. Now, the clip shows Joaquin angry at Larry, who called him a diva for whispering and interrupting his performance process. Now, the video definitely made Joaquin look bad, and he was obviously embarrassed by it. So when the clip ends and cuts back to Jimmy and Joaquin, the actor appears to be visibly upset about his behavior. Joaquin said, "I should probably publicly apologize to Larry. I'm sorry, but he did whisper constantly while we were trying to work, and sometimes it's really hard to find the emotion you're after, so it was wrong of me. I'm sorry, but he shouldn't have done it." Yeah, I get that we all get frustrated sometimes, and being on a movie set can be stressful, but that behavior is just not acceptable at all. Starting off, we have to talk about his current relationship with his daughter, Suri Cruise, who is now 18. It's been reported that Tom hasn't seen her in a very long time and is not a part of her life. But what really happened between them, and why is their relationship such a well-kept secret? Well, Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes welcomed Suri in 2006, and from all appearances, they had a solid parent-child relationship up until 2012. After Tom and Katie's divorce, he completely distanced himself from Katie and Suri and went no contact. Now, during his 2012 deposition lawsuit against Bauer Media, he revealed that his commitment to Scientology was the biggest factor in the breakup of his family. When lawyers asked whether Katie had divorced him over his ties to the church, he said that was one of the assertions, yes. He also admitted that he didn't have any contact with Suri for 3 months right after the divorce. Surprisingly to many, Tom was not awarded custody of Suri at all and instead walked away from the discussions with visitation rights only. Even though the custody agreement struck between makes it clear that he can see his daughter for 10 days a month, it seems like he hasn't been able to make that happen. Now, on top of that, a source close to the situation has said that it seems to be a deliberate choice he is making. Now, that brings us to the truth about his divorce divorce from Katie Holmes. Back in 2012, the former Hollywood power couple announced to the world that they were getting divorced after 6 years of marriage. While this was shocking, Tom eventually confirmed what everyone had suspected about him. The major reason for their split was Katie's aversion to raising Suri as a Scientologist. In a 2013 deposition, the actor admitted that Suri, who was just 7 years old at the time, was no longer a practicing member of the church. And when it comes to their beliefs, people who leave the religion are often cut off from other practicing members. And because of Tom's position as a high-ranking member, it would be practically impossible for him to keep his daughter in his life. In 2013, he spoke about the situation candidly with lawyers, saying, "Listen, when there is a divorce, things change. It's not an ideal scene. It's not an ideal situation." He admitted that he didn't see the divorce coming at all, saying, "I didn't expect it. Life is a tragic comedy. You need to have a sense of humor." But he actually bounced back pretty quickly, and they reached a settlement deal after only 11 days. Next up, we have his broken family with Nicole Kidman. While Tom and Nicole were married, they adopted 2 children, Isabella and Connor, and when they split, Tom did his best to convince them to cut their mother out of their lives. That's the shocking allegation that Sam Domingo made in 2019, claiming that Tom made the decision to disconnect from Nicole and have his children disconnect as well, claiming that Isabella and Connor weren't given a choice about it and were totally brainwashed. So, what are his grown-up kids doing now? Well, in 2018, Katrina Reyes claimed that Connor was living in a church-owned hotel under constant surveillance. She said they'll have him on a course and do some auditing, he can't go out and party and drink, and he'll be on vitamins and juices. As for Isabella, the underground bunker uncovered in 2019 that she starred in a promotional video encouraging members to intern as auditors at the church's London branch. She said, "I became the annoying girl in the org who would just talk endlessly about how incredible training is and how phenomenal the internship is. Thank you to my dad for everything." So clearly both of them are still close with Tom but have completely disconnected from Nicole. Now you might be wondering, how does Hollywood really feel about Tom Cruise? Well, that brings us to our next point, as he was exposed for secretly trying to convert other celebrities. Devoting your life to a faith is one thing, but trying to coerce other A-list celebs into doing the same thing sounds a lot like trouble. When Seth Rogen went on Howard Stern, he talked about spending the day with Tom Cruise and director Judd Apatow. Now Seth was telling jokes and said, "I think the pharmaceutical industry is making me look bad," to which Tom responded, "It's like with Scientology, if you let me just tell you what it is really about, just give me like 20 minutes to really tell you what it's about, you would say no effing way, no effing way." Now Seth said that this made him feel really uncomfortable, as it seemed like Tom was constantly trying to steer the conversation towards his religion at every chance he got. Luckily Judd was there at the time and said, "I feel like we're good, let's just talk about movies and stuff." Now at that point, Seth told Howard that he was extremely relieved, because if he was there alone with Tom, the situation may have panned out differently. Now all this makes you wonder about his behavior behind closed doors, which is what Leah Remini exposed in her memoir, Troublemaker. On one occasion, Leah claimed that Tom shouted at his assistants because he wanted to make cookies, but he couldn't find the pre-packaged cookie dough. In the book, she claimed that he said, "Guys, where's the cookie stuff? God damn it. Can I just get the stuff for the cookies, guys? Get in the effing present time. It's what you need to do." Now to her, Tom seemed like a child who had never been told no, and that he screamed at his assistant. Now in her book, Leah also made some shocking allegations about several well-known Hollywood celebrities. In fact, she recalled a time that she and her husband, Angelo, spent time at Tom's Beverly Hills mansion, where he invited a group of well-known Scientologists and other celebrities, including Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. He announced to all guests that he wanted to play hide and seek and pressured everyone to join in. And when Top Gun Maverick came out, Leah cautioned fans about supporting him, saying that, "Don't let the movie star charm fool you, and no, I will not watch the movie, nor will I ever support or approve this scam of a man." So she's clearly not one to forgive or forget. Now speaking of outbursts, did you know that Tom was also caught yelling at crew members? In December 2020, The Sun published leak audio of him yelling at his Mission Impossible 7 staffers after social distancing rules were broken on set. Tom reportedly flew into a rage after spotting 2 of his crew members standing within 2 meters of each other. He shouted, "And if you don't do it, you're fired. I see you do it again, you're effing gone. No apologies. You can tell it to the people that are losing their effing homes because our industry is shut down. It's not going to put food on their table or pay for their college education. The outburst led 5 crew members to quit on the spot, as they just didn't feel like putting up with any more of his verbal attacks. Now, fans and celebrities were divided in response to this news, but things got awkward when TMZ revealed that Tom himself was not even following the CDC guidelines. As it turns out, the valve mask that he was wearing on set was not effective because it allows potentially infected droplets to leave the mask. Next up, we have the Matt Lauer interview. Tom's arrogance was stifling when he got into a heated argument with Matt Lauer about prescription drugs and about the practice of psychiatry, which he called a pseudoscience. Tom's infamous 2005 interview on the Today Show was so bad that it changed the way that he was perceived, and he proceeded to tell Matt there is no such thing as having a chemical imbalance in the brain, and that the only way to cure depression was vitamins and exercise. Now, his appearance on the show came shortly after he publicly shamed Brooke Shields for her moment of vulnerability when she announced that she used antidepressants to help her with her postpartum depression. To which Tom said, "When someone says medication has helped them, it is to cope, it didn't cure anything. There is no science, there's nothing that can cure them whatsoever." He added that Brooke Shields is a very talented woman, but looking at where her career has gone. Now, that last insult was so unnecessary, but it does tell you a lot about his personality. Next, we have the airplane incident. During an appearance on The Late Show with David Letterman in 1999, Tom could not stop laughing as he told a story of how he restricted oxygen for a passenger when flying to Colorado. According to the actor, he and his co-pilot, as well as one other passenger, were using oxygen masks because they were flying at high altitudes. But Tom said he soon realized that they did not have enough oxygen to stay alert at that altitude, so he and the co-pilot decided to turn off the oxygen mask for the other passenger so that they could continue their journey, and eventually the person passed out due to the lack of oxygen. At this point in the story, Tom burst out laughing while David Letterman just looked uncomfortable. He said, "Looking at it from another direction, isn't that attempted manslaughter? You just turned a guy's oxygen off. You're lucky you're not doing time, for the love of God." But Tom insisted that everything turned out fine and the passenger was okay, but the whole thing just made him look and sound completely psychotic. Now let's talk about the infamous couch jump. The couch jump on the Oprah Winfrey Show in May 2005 is one of the most memorable moments in Tom's career. The actor was talking to Oprah about his new relationship with Katie Holmes, whom he eventually married a year later. But his excitement went a little too far as he started getting up and doing victory poses. At one point, he jumped up on the couch in the middle of the conversation right next to Oprah. His behavior was not only over the top, but extremely unprofessional, and viewers immediately started sympathizing with Oprah. Because despite being a talented host with years of TV experience, the situation was clearly out of her depth. Now, eventually Tom's off-screen antics began to affect his career, as in 2006 Paramount Pictures ended its 14-year working relationship with the actor, fearing his erratic actions were going to negatively impact receipts for the upcoming Mission Impossible 3. Now, Redstone was quoted by CNN saying, "Although we like him personally, we thought it was wrong to renew his deal. His recent conduct has not been acceptable to Paramount." And lastly, we have the 60 Minutes interview. It might not be as disastrous as his interview with Matt Lauer, but Tom's appearance on 60 Minutes Australia makes for a tense and uncomfortable viewing nonetheless. In June 2005, he was interviewed by journalist Peter Overton to talk about his Scientology beliefs and Hollywood stardom. Now, during the interview, he asked a series of questions about his ex-wife Nicole Kidman, and the pair divorced in 2001, have 2 children which have become estranged from Nicole after their divorce. Now, eventually Tom felt that the questions had gone too far and chastised Peter for asking them. He said, "You're stepping over the line now. You're stepping over the line. You know you are." When Overton said that he was asking questions that the public wanted to know, Cruise replied, "Peter, you want to know. Take responsibility for what you want to know, don't say other people. This is a conversation that I'm having with you, right? I'm just telling you right now, okay? Just put your manners back in." Now, Peter apologized so the interview could continue, but years later in 2020, he said that he didn't regret asking the question.
Did Beyoncé fake her pregnancy? When Beyoncé was pregnant with daughter Blue Ivy Carter, so many rumors began spreading that she faked her pregnancy with a fake belly and had enlisted a surrogate to carry the child. A particular video, however, went insanely viral, like literally overnight. A video of Beyoncé's high-definition interview with Australia's Sunday Night HD surfaced online. This interview would have been, on record as the most boring interview of all time had it not been for the one moment at the start of the sit-down when Beyoncé took a seat and her bump, well, did something entirely different and kind of unnatural. So to explain, when she sits down, you can see her stomach like deflating and folding in on itself. The stills and slow-mos of the disappearing bump were circulated online as people questioned, what was happening? Now, was Beyoncé wearing, different sized bellies to throw off the press as to how far along she was? Had she and Jay-Z, gone the surrogate route and her, deflating baby bump proved it? Or was it something else entirely that can or can't be so easily explained? Beyoncé's publicist, Yvette Noel Schur, was quick with it. She shot down the conspiracy theories almost like immediately, telling E! News that, websites, blogs, and rumors suggesting that Jay-Z's wife is wearing a prosthetic or otherwise faking her baby bump are simply like foolish and outlandish. Beyoncé addressed it literally only once, saying that was crazy. It wasn't even hurtful, it was just crazy. Where do they come up with this stuff? Meanwhile, her mother, Tina Knowles, took the talk like very personally. She went on to say, I thought it was very unfair and very cruel that someone would think that someone would be that diabolical to keep up a charade like that for 9 months. As a mother, it was painful for me to hear the crazy rumors, and I even had people ask me, which was so ridiculous. The only thing they could say about why it looked like her belly folded is that it must have been the fabric. One critic online pointed out that Beyoncé has been so secretive about her pregnancy and that the only footage of her actually being pregnant was super grainy and like not clear at all. Some fans, came to her defense saying that there was a pic of her on the beach, in a bikini, but honestly, the photo of her in the bikini, if she was pregnant, looked like she would have been about like 4 months or less. So basically people were saying, the photo doesn't actually prove that she was actually pregnant. There were just so many conspiracy theories regarding why she might be lying. Many people thought she didn't want to like ruin her figure, by being pregnant. Some people suspected maybe she couldn't have children of her own, and some thought, her and Jay were maybe adopting. However, none of this truly mattered when her daughter was actually brought into the world. Blue Ivy was born at Lenox Hill Hospital in Manhattan, New York on January 7, 2012. Her and Jay actually reportedly bought out the whole floor at the hospital in order to have privacy, even making people who, were already there leave. But that's another story for another time. All in all, this whole circus made Beyoncé a lot more open with her second pregnancy when she had twins Rumi and Sir. Personally, I think she didn't want the same, accusations and theories to surface again, so she kind of just said, y'all ain't playing with me today. You want a bump? Here it is. Is Beyoncé lying about her age? There have been several moments that have made people question whether or not Beyoncé is lying about her age. Matthew Knowles, her father, continues to use his daughter's name as a means, to staying newsworthy. This time though, it's adding fuel to the fire or to the rumor mill that the superstar is actually lying about her age. In an interview with Power 105.1's The Breakfast Club, Knowles, her father, says that Pink, the singer, is the exact same age as Beyoncé. Pink, however, is 45 and Beyoncé is, according to her, 43. Beyoncé's age has been, a source of speculation for years, complete with alleged birth certificate leaks and, celebrity sources. Gabrielle Union, who is 9 years older than Beyoncé, has said they were friends when they were teenagers, and apparently they even went to high school together, but the math ain't mathing there. While the difference between Pink and Beyoncé are only like a measly 2 years, by the time you're like closing down on 50, those years, apparently seem to matter. So, fudging the numbers early on makes it a little easier to simply stop at 43 and refuse to age any further. It's as if, as a performer, you were to reach 50, you'd stop being considered for parts or shows, which, let's be honest, that isn't actually true in today's day and age, because just look at Jennifer Lopez. Like, she's in her 50s, she's still performing, headlining, you know what I mean? Or the other worry I would imagine most women up in age would be concerned about would be whether you'd be vilified for like gallivanting in a leotard or like a bodysuit, like a one piece, whatever scandalous type of outfit you might have worn in your 20s. Basically, for being confident about your body. Taylor Swift does it, it's, girl power, but if Madonna does it, it's like supposed to be shameful, So at least that's how society wants us all to view it. Beyoncé has lied many times about writing her own music. Beyoncé has claimed to be, the creative vision and songwriter behind some of her most successful successful songs, and there was no room for argument, that she was one of the most talented singer-songwriters to be a part of the music industry, and still is. But when rumors began to swirl that there were holes in the stories Beyoncé told about writing her music, fans were shocked. They wondered if Beyoncé truly did write all the songs she claimed to, or if she was fabricating. Now, there have been several times when songwriters or celebrities have had negative things to say and called Beyoncé out in the press for taking credit for being the creative force behind her songs that have become hits. This is not to say, that the Run the World singer does not put her own spin vocally on tracks to take them places other artists could not, all while having an insane work ethic, but taking full credit for something that there was clearly a collaboration on led fans to do some digging. And when they did, they found several times when Beyoncé claimed to be the sole writer or had the inspiration for a song, when that was clearly false. One person on Reddit actually rounded up like a number of examples, which include Emotions, which is actually a Bee Gees cover, Survivor, which the actual songwriter sued and settled out of court, Bow Down, which was allegedly written for Rihanna, Bootylicious, the demo was apparently near complete when, it got to Destiny's Child, and one of Beyoncé's biggest songs, Irreplaceable, which apparently was actually written by Ne-Yo. Now, what's funny about that one is that Beyoncé went on to say, "I'm sure people think I wrote it about Jay-Z or something, but the obvious person is not the person at all." Several years later, though, Ne-Yo claimed to have penned the song himself. Had he not thought the song was too misogynistic, he explained he would have actually kept it for himself. He said, "That song taught me a very interesting lesson. Many women don't think that differently. However, a man singing it comes across a little mean." So, with many discrepancies coming up in interviews over the years when Beyoncé has claimed to be the driving force behind many of her hits, it is easy to see why fans wonder how much Beyoncé has written herself, what she has collaborated on, and what songs were just written for her. There's no denying the talent Beyoncé has, and no one is discrediting, her vocal and performance abilities, but many fans and critics alike think that she should give all the credit, not just to herself. In fact, it's just a song that maybe she's collabed on with one person, online even saying, unless Beyoncé specifically came up with an idea for a song or contributed vocals to it, she should call herself an artist instead. Another person chimed in and said, "For some reason, we have this idea that singers have to also write their own music to be considered artists, but telling a story with your voice and entertaining people with your performance is a whole other skill set." I think at the end of the day, just give credit where it's due to avoid these type of, controversies, or stay as low-key as possible and don't extend your part.
It's hard to see through the smoke and mirrors of Hollywood, but every once in a while, someone uncovers the real truth. Here are some evil lies celebrities confessed on live TV. You would hope that when you read an autobiographical book about someone, they would tell the truth. Well, we're not always that lucky. Author James Frey was once known as the successful writer of A Million Little Pieces, but that success turned sour when it was revealed that he actually lied about many of the events he wrote about. The book was supposed to be an account of the author's life. It was a book about his journey to recovery from a substance reliance. This is something that a lot of people can relate to, and so it gained a lot of traction, really taking off when Oprah Winfrey featured it on her show. When Oprah endorses something, it's because she believes in it. She trusts it. This book in particular hit home for the talk show host, as Oprah herself has admitted to once using a substance and disliking it. So when she recommended James's book on her show, she meant it. However, soon people started noticing holes in the plot, and it got to the point where author James Frey was accused of fabricating or altering events written about in the book. Eventually, he was invited back on the show to share why he wasn't entirely truthful with his writing that was supposed to be real accounts of his life story. Oprah got on the author's case about switching details around or making things up for shock value. She opened the interview with, "I have to say it is difficult for me to talk to you because I feel really duped, but more importantly, I feel that you betrayed millions of readers." A harsh statement, but herself and many who read his book certainly felt that way. The author claimed that he changed major details about people and events to simply render them unidentifiable. However, Oprah believed that he was simply just lying. She said the situation was embarrassing and disappointing for her. The conversation got a bit heated, to the point where today, Oprah has said that she slightly regrets how she handled it all, but not what she said. James Frey apparently ended up switching genres entirely after this. His days of writing the gritty realism of A Million Little Pieces are over, and he has instead moved to YA fiction, writing under the name Pittacus Lore. The world felt lied to when Jada Pinkett Smith revealed in an interview ahead of her 2023 memoir Worthy release that her and Will Smith weren't even married when he got himself banned from the Academy Awards. We all remember the Will Smith rocks Chris Rock at the Oscars, right? Well, it was clear that Smith did it because he was defending his wife. I mean, keep my wife's name out your mouth. Only if we take the memoir into account, Jada wasn't actually his wife at the time. Now, I don't mean to say that they weren't married. That actually wouldn't be true because they were married, however, they were separated. The couple doesn't want to get divorced, so they are simply separated while keeping the married title. In the memoir, Jada revealed that when Will swung, the pair had already been separated for 6 years. It made people wonder if Smith reacted so strongly because he was dealing with the weight of that emotionally. No matter what, it makes that whole situation just feel so much worse than it already did. In the interview, the star also confirmed that the pair were living separately. Alec Baldwin's wife pretended to be Spanish for years, going so far as to speak with an accent and everything, despite being white and born in Boston and going to school in Massachusetts. Yeah, she actually got away with her story for a long time. It wasn't until about like 2020, when everyone had the time to actually care about this, that it was revealed that she was lying about her Spanish heritage. Kind of. She claims that yes, while she might be white, she spent a lot of time in Spain and that is how she adopted the culture. She was accused of having a fake accent. There was a pretty famous clip of her forgetting the English word for cucumber. Apparently, the city of New York has been well aware of her fake backstory and just failed to share that with the class. Robert Pattinson has a history of lying. It's more likely that every life story that he's ever told is a lie than not. My favorite lie of his comes from a 2011 morning interview he did on the press tour for the movie Water for Elephants. It's set at the circus, and I swear that's important. The interviewer asked Pattinson if he ever dreamed about being in the circus as a kid or just like had good memories of the circus, to which Pattinson replied that he didn't because the first time he went to the circus, one of the clowns passed away. Of course, the interviewer was like, "Oh my god, what do you mean?" And Pattinson said that the little clown car exploded. It was terrifying and everyone had to evacuate. Obviously, the story sounds unbelievable because it was a lie. So sorry to anyone that has gone to a circus and seen a clown car explode, but this time it was a lie. But still, the interviewer asked Robert if he was telling the truth and he said yes. The interviewer really was a super trooper for keeping up with this lying liar who lies and still managing to pull the interview back to the movie press. Maybe this lie was simply Pattinson preparing to become Batman. 11 years later, the hatred for the Joker lives within him. The lie came back to bite him during an interview for that very Batman press tour. Sitting beside Zoe Kravitz, he was asked about the Joker and his clown-related trauma, and Pattinson admitted that he has some trouble distinguishing fact from fiction, and Zoe clarified that Robert tells all these stories and now he's being asked about them and he doesn't know if they're true or not. It turns out that Robert lies all the time. All the time. It makes looking at old tween magazines, I'm talking about like the Tiger Beats, the J14s, I hope you are getting neon flashbacks right now. It makes looking at those magazines just so incredibly funny because you wonder if Pattinson is ever telling the truth at all. Not every lie he tells works out. 2009 was a big year for him lying. He said he didn't wash his hair, and headlines about that proceeded to haunt him for over 5 years. He claimed that he bored a stalker out of stalking him by taking them to dinner and complaining so much they left him alone. He said that he sometimes just says things in interviews just to have something to say. I will say though that his creativity is off the charts. It's to the point where people aren't sure if he shares real stories anymore. There was a GQ Zoom interview he did in 2020 where the interviewer listened to Pattinson discuss his latest business venture, a pasta you can hold in your hand called Piccolini Cuisino or Little Pillow, whatever that means. He demonstrated it live on camera and blew up his microwave, and the poor interviewer didn't know if he was earnest or just did a performance piece for them. I do love this interview style though, because you know when you're out and you meet somebody and you don't really want them to know who you are and you know you'll never see them again, so you just like lie about yourself for fun. I am ready for everyone in the comments to be like, no, I don't do that, you're a freak, but like when I'm reading all these stories about Pattinson, I just get him. He just happens to be creating his characters on an international scale. And this works great for celebrities because interviewers can get the clickbait material they need while Pattinson keeps the actual details of his life private, and people still love him. It's a win-win-win. And finally, the most evil lie of all, that time when Dakota Johnson admitted live on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon that she actually was allergic to limes. She lied about keeping limes in her house. Dakota Johnson has some truly iconic interview moments. I mean, actually, no, that's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited. Come on. But my favorite is the lime bit. In March of 2020, Johnson allowed Architectural Digest in her home for a little house tour. As she was walking us through her kitchen setup, she took a moment to acknowledge a pile of limes on the counter, saying that she loves limes, loves them, and likes to present them in her house like this. Fawning over limes is kind of funny, so of course it became like a key moment of the video, and it got to a point. Almost a year later, she zoomed into Jimmy Fallon, and he of course asked her about her seemingly lime addiction, to which she said she was actually allergic to limes. So why were there like 25 limes in her kitchen then? I'm so glad you didn't ask. Apparently it was set dressing, and they just put them there. And if you don't know what set dressing means, it typically refers to like movie sets or real estate even. It's people that come in and make a location look lived in. In this case, set dressing decided to do that with 30 limes. Thank goodness Johnson's allergy is mild. She didn't even know they were in there, and that could have ended really poorly. I'm guessing that the team is now going to be asking about allergies from now on. Johnson said that the reason she acknowledged the 35 limes was because they were just pretty hard to ignore, so she just lied.
Jack Schulzberg, now an ex-Vogue staffer, as well as the grandson of late President John F. Kennedy, spilled some tea about the Met Gala, and he got in some hot water for it. Jack Schulzberg started a feud with the Met Gala in April 2025 by calling for a boycott. He took to TikTok to say, "Hey, Anna Wintour, I'm boycotting the Met Gala this year. With so much happening at home and around the world, it's not the time for a party like that, at least for me. I will be boycotting the Met Gala, and I think others should as well. It is not the time for a party." In a follow-up video, Jack explained his reasoning for his decision to boycott. He said, while sitting in a kayak, "I've been to the Met Gala before, I had a great time, but this year with so much happening around the world and at home, I cannot in good conscience go to the Met Gala." Jack teased that instead he was going to be launching something brand new that would be very important and informative. Many people took to his comment section to say the real reason he's likely not going is because he's known to have spilled some dirty secrets about Anna Wintour herself in the past, and so she's actually cut him off. So while he's been invited in the past, it seems as though that invitation has not gone out to him this year. Josh Hartnett, 90s heartthrob Josh Hartnett, was deemed not relevant enough for the Met Gala back in 2016. The documentary, The First Monday in May, which actually took audiences behind the scenes of the invite-only event, showed a glimpse into the Met. Now in the doc, a Vogue staffer was seen responding to Calvin Klein's request to actually dress the Pearl Harbor star and have him sit at his table, saying, "What has he done lately though? Nothing. You guys are all set." So banned is a little bit too strong of a word to use in this case, as I don't think he necessarily is banned, but he's had a great comeback in 2023 and 2024, and arguably is back on the path to being extremely relevant. But despite this, no talks of him attending this year has actually been whispered anywhere. It's rumored that he's made claims of not wanting to go anyway, so we may never see him on that famous carpet. Rachel Zoe. It's widely speculated that designer Rachel Zoe was indefinitely uninvited from the Met Gala after she made comments that probably didn't go over too well with Met Gala organizer and Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour. Now Zoe told the New York Times in 2007, "Anna Wintour is one of my heroes, but they say that I'm more influential. Now as great as it is, Vogue won't change a designer's business." However, Zoe did attend the event in 2010 and in 2012, so I'm not really sure if this alleged ban is real or not, or if she will attend in the future. Tim Gunn, celebrity fashion presenter and author Tim Gunn, confirmed that he is actually banned from the Met Gala during a 2016 appearance on E! Entertainment's Fashion Police. When host Joan Rivers asked if the rumors about his ban are true, he said, "It is very true. It is a crazy story, and as far as I'm concerned, it's a very matter-of-fact story. I was asked what is the most unforgettable thing I've ever seen in fashion, and I said it's easy. I was was watching Anna Wintour being carried down 5 flights of stairs by 2 bodyguards, 2 big hulking men from a fashion show. All hell broke loose. It was insane. We've had an open war ever since. Now, the fashion guru then said he's basically blacklisted for making those kind of off-head comments, and he refused to actually retract his statement after Anna allegedly asked him to, which only made her more upset and angered. I mean, I actually love that he stood on business on that one. He basically said, I don't need the Met needs me, and it's above me now. Lily Reinhart has nothing but hate for the Met Gala. Riverdale star Lily Reinhart attended the Met Gala in 2018, 2019, and 2021, but later speculated that she won't be invited back after criticizing Met Gala royalty Kim Kardashian over her comments about committing to an extreme diet to fit into that Marilyn Monroe gown she wore back in 2022. Reinhart told W Magazine in 2022, I don't think I'll be invited back. I said a certain something about a certain person in a certain dress. Lily Reinhart has no shame calling out celebrities who have been promoting unhealthy habits, even if it lands her in really hot water. She also said in a statement, when someone is talking about, disordered eating or promoting unhealthy habits, that's where I have to step in. Without naming her, Reinhart criticized Kim Kardashian's ignorance in promoting her very harmful Met Gala crash diet. Comments through an Instagram story she posted, she said, to walk on a red carpet and do an interview where you say how starving you are because you haven't eaten carbs in the last month, all to fit in a bleeping dress? So wrong, so effed on 100s of levels. She continued to say, I'm thinking you're hurting me and you're triggering me, which means you must be triggering millions of other people who are hearing what you say. It gets me in hot water, but I guess I'd rather be in hot water than just be someone who doesn't stand for anything. So while Reinhart confessed how horrifying it is to see her name, trending on Twitter, she'd rather be labeled annoying than someone who doesn't vocalize her beliefs. Lily since has made subliminal posts about the gala, indirectly trying to throw shade, spill secrets and whatnot about the event, and share the lies everyone is actually told about how glamorous this event is. She's made a point to say that they have strict rules on what you can eat there, how you should dress, encourages you to go above and beyond to fit into an outfit for the event, and doesn't want you taking any photographs while inside because they're hiding the truth about what goes on once you're in. Well, what does go on? That's a good question. No one, not even Lily, has been brave enough yet to really blow the lid off this. Tina Fey exposed the Met Gala and said it's basically a jerk parade. Tina Fey's controversial Met Gala experience stemmed from a single attendance in 2010 where she described the event as a jerk parade filled with people she'd want to punch. Fey made these remarks during an interview with David Letterman in 2015. She has stated that she will never attend again and express frustration with the stupid things people wear and the overall vibe of the event. Her criticism focused on the fashion choices of attendees, the perceived arrogance of some individuals, and the overall atmosphere just of the event. She said, everyone is rude, everyone is judgmental and sketchy. She ended her rant basically by saying, clearly, I'll never go again. But she actually did jokingly mention being in a fart cloud of a famously mean fashion designer. So I don't know who that is, but this anecdote contributed to the Met Gala's reputation for being an event where celebrities might interact with people they wouldn't typically associate with, leading to some negative perceptions. Demi Lovato said one celebrity was a complete bitch to her at the Met Gala. Now, Demi opened up about an extremely negative experience she had at the 2016 Met Gala. She revealed that she had an encounter with a celeb that was so bad it led her to text her manager and attend Alcoholics Anonymous meeting right after. She said, I had a terrible experience. This one celebrity was a complete B-word and was miserable to be around. It was very cliquey. I remember being so uncomfortable that I wanted to have a drink. She didn't name names, but that was the year she attended the Met with her stylist, hand in hand with also Nicki Minaj. So yeah, speculate as you wish. Demi explained that her experience at that AA meeting made her think about her priorities, and she had some choice words about the crowd at the Met Gala. She said, I changed my clothes, but I still had my diamonds, millions of dollars of diamonds on in an AA meeting, and I related more to the homeless people in that meeting who struggled with the same struggles that I deal with than the people at the Met Gala, fake and sucking the fashion industries, yada yada yada. Now, despite saying she's never going again, she would, in fact, go again 6 years later. They all come crawling back, don't they? So evil? Maybe. Toxic? Most definitely. The stars have spoken, and aside from all the crazy rules like confiscating phones, no smoke breaks, spouses being separated at dinner, it's just another night to show the world who's who, cause if you aren't at the Met, do you even met her?
The Daily Mail reports that the Jennifer Jenny from the Block singer and Air director met up January 5th, aka Golden Globes Day, at Affleck's home. From photos acquired from the meetup, it seems the pair seemed to be on good terms. It appears that J-Lo even gave Ben's son a big hug. Despite the sweet meetup, that doesn't mean the couple is getting back together anytime soon. In fact, the opposite might be true. It's known now that the two megastars are getting a divorce, but the process is taking a step forward into settlement territory. J-Lo is also apparently looking to drop the Affleck from her last name. Just because J-Lo is leaving the Affleck surname behind doesn't mean she's dropping the whole family. A source claiming to be close to the couple says that the pair decided to remain in each other's lives even though they aren't romantically involved anymore. J-Lo was a parent to Affleck's children and vice versa while they were married, and that is not something that you can just erase. The source said the pair are agreeing to communicate when it involves the kids, and that's already happening, it seems. At the Sunday meetup, J-Lo's child seems to have been exiting Ben's house carrying a large gift in their hands. Affleck walked behind them. As previously stated, J-Lo embraced Affleck's son, a sweet interaction all around. The source shared that though the pair aren't necessarily looking to co-parent or have that type of relationship, they are still close to each other's families and feel as though they have a blended family in a lot of ways. Affleck and Lopez, along with Affleck's ex-wife, Jennifer Garner, were all spotted in the same place just before last year ended. Their kids attend school together and were in a play. Makes sense considering who their parents are. Photos of the famous celebs from the event show nothing but proud parents and happy vibes all around. It's unclear how involved the adults will be as the divorce moves forward, especially with an official settlement apparently being reached. People were shocked to learn though that J-Lo and Affleck did not sign a prenup before marrying, especially since they both do so much and then make so much from what they do. It was shocking that they would risk splitting everything 50-50. TMZ has broken the news that the pair have allegedly come to an agreement though. TMZ reported some of what was presumably on the table through what each party is apparently set to keep. Affleck's stake in Artist Equity, the production company that he and BFF Matt Damon created in 2022, about 4 months after Affleck married J-Lo, that is sticking with its founder. The company has had a successful run so far with films like Air and Unstoppable, the latter actually featuring J-Lo, which, speaking of, J-Lo has a number of individual success stories from the marriage, like her romantic comedy, Marry Me, which I actually saw in theaters, had a great time, her self-produced musical album movie and documentary about said movie, plus a few other film endeavors that she is keeping. It all boils down to the easy idea that whatever the person earned, they get to keep. But there is one thing that they did share, and that was their house. Now, I wasn't in the room with their lawyers, and all the details are confidential, so I have no idea exactly how they're dividing up that $61 million mansion, but TMZ claims that an agreement has been reached, so there is that. As of right now, the house is still on the market, so we will have to wait and see exactly how it all proceeds. Apparently, the whole situation was mediated by Laura Wasser, and she clearly did a great job. As it stands, neither party is due to pay spousal support to the other. But is an amicable agreement really that shocking? From photos and clips of their recent meetups, it's clear the former couple are still very civil with each other, some might even say friendly. It's clear there's still affection there. Plus, they both had successful years well together. Why not just let the other person keep what they made? Allegedly, they even met up at the tail end of last year to exchange holiday gifts. The divorce was filed back in August, and it appears everything is almost in order, and now they're just waiting for the official finalization date of February 20th, roughly 6 months after everything first started. The source close to the couple shared that due to their history, Affleck and Lopez will always have a mutual respect for one another. New footage has dropped of J-Lo that has people whispering that Jenny from the Block has made a deal with the devil. I know that is probably not what you were expecting to hear next, but here we are. The clips emerged around November of last year, right in the middle of the whole divorce with Ben Affleck's situation. You know, going through a divorce is known to be a difficult thing, but take one look at J-Lo and you would never guess. Seriously, the woman is glowing and looks stunning in literally every red carpet appearance, every paparazzi picture, and every selfie. Of course, that leaves people to draw one conclusion as to how the artist is getting this stunning image. Spoiler, it's not financial security or a dedicated support team, but that she must have made a deal with the devil. Celebrities being accused of demon dealing, is that new? No, unfortunately not. Conspiracies rule the internet. But at least this time, the viral tweet first made making the demonic claim appears to at least be a joke. J-Lo appeared at the LA premiere of Wicked in a glittering gown. She looked incredible. Popular Twitter celebrity updates account, PopBase, shared a clip of J-Lo posing on the red carpet. The tweet was viewed millions of times and had thousands of engagements, but one stood out from the rest. A quote tweet that read, "She traded her vocals for eternal beauty and hasn't looked bad a day since." Now listen, the context to this tweet is people like to be mean to J-Lo on the internet after they found out that many of her tracks feature vocals from other performers that J-Lo either claims to be her own or she just doesn't clarify that the main voice isn't her. Then there was also the canceled tour and a series of memes spawned from her This Is Me Now situation documentary, especially since so many celebrities turned down appearing in them, and some that did appear in the movies seemed more confused than anything else. And then there was the whole misunderstanding where it looked like J-Lo had asked longtime friend Derek Huff to move his wedding around to accommodate her movie. Point is, there is a lot that has happened regarding the singer over the past few years, and roasting J-Lo just seems to be an internet pastime right now. But there is one thing that the people cannot touch, and that is her look. J-Lo truly always looks good. A positive, ongoing comment about J-Lo is that you will never catch her looking ugly or broke, and that has been proven true time and time again. Even when there is so much seemingly going on with the star personally, she's always glowing. So it must be a deal with the devil. Of course, what's the real secret to J-Lo looking 10 out of 10 all the time? What is she hiding? It's clear the star is naturally beautiful, but that is enhanced by a glam squad and, as many people speculate, cosmetic procedures. J-Lo has said publicly that she prefers to age naturally and isn't one to run and get a lot of work done, but not everyone believes her. Some have accused the performer of getting major surgeries. One person even accused her of using her family's genes to get a vampire facial, seemingly implying her eternal youth comes at the expense of her own youths, which that is definitely a sentence someone has typed about her. I almost missed the initial devil accusation. Generally, people seem to believe, including some aesthetic doctors, that if J-Lo has had work done, it is often subtle and expertly performed so that she never has a jarring transformation, so stuff like Botox or fillers. The most common major procedure people believe to have happened to the star is a nose job. Apparently her nose was originally slightly wider when she started out her career. Now there is technically some truth behind that rumor. J-Lo confirmed getting a nose job when she was younger, but that was more medical than anything else to fix a deviated septum. Is J-Lo hiding other cosmetic procedures? Well, that is unclear, as is her involvement with the leader of the underworld. But if I had to hazard a guess, I think that J-Lo's youthful glow can be attributed to confidence, well-placed cosmetics, lighting, and maybe a cute Instagram filter every once in a while.
Kim Kardashian recently shared how she makes sure her kids aren't finishing all their Halloween candy. In an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live ahead of her American Horror Story Delicate Part 2 finale, the 43-year-old reality star and entrepreneur shared with Kimmel what it was like growing up next to Madonna in her childhood and adult years, and what it's like trick-or-treating with the Material Girl singer. Kimmel's like, "I would imagine this is like a celebrity neighborhood, but like, you got good candy, right?" Kim was like, "Yes," and then Kimmel was like, "Madonna allowed her kids to eat candy? She seems very healthy." And Kim was like, "Yeah, absolutely, she's very healthy. But I mean, I take it and then I throw it away, or I donate it." Kimmel was like, "Okay, so if you take away your kid's candy, next time videotape it. I'd like to have it. Kind of a hobby of mine," which obviously he was referring to his viral segment where every year, the day after Halloween, parents videotape their kids telling them they ate all their candy, they send him the video, he plays it, and people laugh, or so I'm told. Apparently with fame comes the right to be slobs, at least according to the Kardashian housekeepers, who claim the girls never clean up after themselves, yet expect their rooms and closets to always be camera ready. Well, there's no doubt that the Kardashian women are busy with their multiple shows, their families, numerous business ventures. Some folks have argued that they don't have the right to be so demanding of the housekeepers who help to tend their homes, which I agree. This even led to a lawsuit in 2021, as reported by NBC News, with 7 workers, not 1, not 2, but 7, claiming that Kim Kardashian failed to pay overtime, cover expenses, and provide legally mandated breaks, while expecting her housekeepers to always be on call to pick up after her. Look, if you want luxury services, you've got to pay luxury prices. That's how it is. You've got to pay overtime. You got to pay expenses. You have to provide breaks. Legally mandated for a reason. Shayna Moakler, Travis Barker's ex-wife, went on a podcast and claimed that Kim Kardashian hooked up with him, which is a major bombshell considering Travis is now married to Kim's sister Kourtney. Not only that, but there was allegedly cheating involved. Yeah, Shayna claimed that Travis was seeing Kim behind her back and that Kim played a major part in the breakdown of their marriage. Now, this was during an appearance on the Dumb Blonde podcast, and Shayna revealed that she and Travis were working on their relationship when she was sent text messages between him and Kim from some anonymous source. What did those text messages say? They were trying to meet up at her sister's house to do the deed. Now, apparently when she showed the text to Travis, he had already deleted them. So yeah, she had reason to be suspicious. But what people can't seem to get over about this story is the fact that Travis might have been interested in Kim before he was into Kourtney. And that's something that would promote hurt feelings all around. But like, is Kim Kardashian really a homewrecker? Would she really go after her sister's man and not put it on TV? I don't know. Sounds unlikely to me. I feel like this should have been a storyline of some sort on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. They say that as you get more and more famous, you get more and more lonely and isolated. Like, Kim K used to have a lot of high-profile celebs on her list of friends. We're talking Beyoncé, even Taylor Swift for a hot minute. But her former assistant Stephanie revealed that Beyoncé and Kim had quite the feud and often badmouthed each other, which hasn't become like super known because they did it privately in their homes. Stephanie also said that Kim has a hard time keeping friends because she thinks she's better than everybody else, and she tries to be better than everybody else too. Let's see, we've got a whole list of people that she's cut off over the years. Jordyn Woods, Blac Chyna, and Drake. It's easy to judge someone who has a big ego, but would any of us act different in Kim's situation? Most of us will ever know, but like, why would you think you're better than your friends? According to a March 2023 Bloomberg Businessweek report, Kim was questioned by the feds as part of this crazy investigation into the big Malaysian financier. I think his name is Zhou Lo, who was a mogul at the center of the big infamous 1MDB fund embezzlement scandal. So US prosecutors alleged that Lo had stolen at least 4.5 billion from One Malaysia Development Berhad, which was founded and led by a former prime minister. The Justice Department indicted Lo in 2018 for conspiring to launder billions of dollars stolen from the development fund and paying out hundreds of millions of dollars in bribes. And since then, he's been like a fugitive. I think he's living in China. In 2019, Kim told the FBI that she once played Baccarat in a Las Vegas casino with Lo and others, and she ended up winning big. Now, he told her, "Keep your chips," which were worth $350,000. And she told the FBI that when she went to the casino counter to cash out, she was handed $250,000 in a trash bag full of $100 bills. So she put the trash bag full of cash in her carry-on bag and boarded a Southwest Airlines flight back to LA. Once again, sketch. On a later trip to Vegas, Kim collected the remaining $100K, again, in a trash bag. Look, I don't know a lot of big gamblers, but this sounds sketchy. Don't you think? Let me know in the comments. The Kardashians are known to take many extravagant vacations and ventures, and one memorable visit to Bora Bora on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, people will know about it. Well, there, Kim reportedly lost her diamond earrings, leading the whole family to search the water for her prized jewelry. Naturally, losing something of such great worth and importance brought plenty of viewers in and sparked a lot of discussion online about the episode. Everybody was worried, where's Kim's earring? Seriously, like, there's people who have never seen a whole episode of the show, but if you quoted them, "Kim, there's people dying," they'd roar laughing. I'm not even a super fan. I quote it all the time. But the problem here, according to RadarOnline.com, Kim's ex-husband, Chris Humphries, said it didn't actually happen. Kim didn't lose her earrings. The move was a publicity stunt to get views. While this surely wasn't the only time Keeping Up with the Kardashians created a false moment, the lost earrings are a prime example of the lack of reality in the reality show. It also shows viewers should reserve judgment and sympathy when something happens on the show, since it might be fabricated for views, which is something we'll talk about more in a moment. We all know reality TV is quasi-scripted by this point in our lives. If you didn't, my bad. But like, when something is this heavily scripted, it's just annoying. When you hear about the Kardashians, you probably automatically assume they're entitled divas, and sadly, you're not wrong. Reports have surfaced that the Kardashians, especially the younger generation, were very kind to the camera crew when Keeping Up with the Kardashians first started in 2007. But as the show progressed, the family got a lot more famous, their kindness and respect for the crews they worked with dwindled, causing unpleasant and unfriendly moments, to say the least, behind the scenes. Ah yes, when fame and money reveal people's true colors. According to The Sun, the Kardashians repeatedly berate crew members and make unreasonable demands on anybody in their path. Additionally, the girls often try to direct what happens or demand multiple reshoots of simple moments on the show to place themselves in the best light they can, at the expense of the rest of the family and crew. Well, after learning how poorly they treat their staff, this probably isn't like a big surprise revelation to anybody, but like it's not a good thing, and probably something the girls want to keep under wraps. One of the most talked about events of Keeping Up with the Kardashians was Kim's extremely short-lived marriage to Kris Humphries. This marriage lasted less than 3 months and commanded headlines for like months if not years following the split. The whole situation was awkward and Humphries reportedly felt betrayed by Kim, feeling that the marriage was all in the name of ratings. The 72-day wedding will forever live on in infamy. And when you consider there's no such thing as bad publicity, I guess it was a boon for the girls. Why would they waste all that time and money? No. Why would you waste all that time and money if it wasn't gonna work out? Who knows? According to the Washington Post, the marriage was meant for just PR, just to drive awareness and ratings for the show. In fact, Kim wanted her goodbye to Humphries to be on the show, but producers were like, it's a little much. These days, Humphries wants nothing to do with the family and has asked to be completely omitted from Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Sorry dude, wish you all the best away from this circus. This is probably one of the worst kept secrets, but it's worth mentioning. So easily one of the most controversial moments in the Kardashian saga is the release of Kim's intimate tape with Ray J. When the tape was first leaked, Kim sued the company to keep it out of the public eye. But a lot of folks have pointed out that Kim has made an impressive $5 million from the home movie. And it's possible that this leak was a publicity move. In fact, Ray J himself said it was Kim's mom, Kris, who actually released the tape. A lot of people believe the release by Kris was meant to drive attention to the family, and it worked. Only 6 months after the tape was leaked, Keeping Up with the Kardashians premiered with strong viewership. For her part, Kris did do a lie detector test on The Late Late Show with James Corden and said she had nothing to do with the leak. But like, who's gonna trust a lie detector test on a talk show? Also, who trusts James Corden? As one might expect from a reality TV show these days. Yes, I've already said it, not everything you see is real. And a lot of the events on Keeping Up with the Kardashians were staged, including Kourtney's vicious vocal battles with Scott. It's just bonkers. According to the New York Daily News, once the cameras stopped rolling, the duo would laugh about the filmed fights and the drama, and they would discuss how it would drive viewership up. That being said, it's also been revealed that Scott has faced serious addictions, leading some folks to wonder if the fights on the show were real, they were scripted, they were a mixture of both, just playing off of the original fights. The assumptions made were, well, maybe the fights being fake was a cover-up for how serious the issues were in the relationship. Regardless, there's no denying the tension these fights created among fans of the show. The duo ended up splitting for good in 2015, and Kourtney is now married to the famous musician Travis Barker.
Number 10, Mama Drama. One thing that comes up a lot in Britney Spears' memoir is her relationship to her parents. She discusses the strain that was placed especially on the bond between herself and her mom, Lynn Spears. She dived deep into her childhood and what actually went down. In the book, she said that she started drinking no-no juice with her mother when she was just in the 8th grade. Of course, that's awful and no one should ever do that because Britney wouldn't just have a sip of it, no, she would just drink no-no juice all day like it was her job. She explained that for fun, she started having fruity no-no juice with her mom while they were in Biloxi, Mississippi. Say that 10 times fast and I will give you $100. To make things feel less illegal, they would call the drinks toddies, named after the adult beverage that's basically just no-no tea. Britney felt a special bond with her mother because of this, especially considering the contrast between her mom and her dad when he would drink. When her mother had a few, she was bubbly and had, the same bright personality, and that's what Britney had as well. But when Jamie had a few, he would get angry and depressed. That behavior is terrible, and while bonding with your parents is awesome, not the right way to do it. Number 9, Jamie Lynn Spears. In her memoir, Britney says that she's working very hard to have more compassion towards her sister, Zoe 101 herself, Jamie Lynn Spears. In the book, Britney revealed a ton of information on Jamie, including the fact that for the entirety of her conservatorship, Jamie would just tell her to move on and stop fighting for control. Britney writes that her younger sister ruled the roost at their home in Kentwood growing up, leaving Britney feeling like a ghost to her parents. She writes that she would walk into the family room and that no one would look at her. Her sister was always too glued to the TV, and according to Britney, would constantly berate their mother, calling her every name in the book. According to Britney, Jamie did nothing to help her during her time under the conservatorship. When she was placed into a mental health facility in 2018, she asked Jamie for support. She replied by telling Britney to just give in and stop resisting. At the time, Britney was under immense mental stress and wrote that she was scared that someone was maybe trying to hurt her in the facility. Her relationship with her sister Jamie has been strained for a long time, with Jamie lying to her several times, including one incident where Jamie claimed that a Zoe 101 co co-star was being mean to her on set, Britney confronted the star, Alexa Nichols, by yelling in her face, and she had no idea what was happening or why because it turned out that she was being lied to from the very beginning. Good sibling right there. Number 8. Justin Timberlake. Now, one of the most discussed sections of the memoir is of course the revelation of what actually happened when Britney and her Mickey Mouse Club co-star Justin got together. After meeting JT in the clubhouse, the two sparked a romantic connection. The connection was so strong, but unfortunately Britney had to make a very tough decision in 2000 after she found out she was pregnant. At first, Britney was actually pretty excited about this. In her book, she actually revealed that she had planned on starting a family with Justin at some point, but I guess that it was just gonna happen a little bit earlier than it expected. Well, it turned out that Justin didn't want anything to do with this. He was not excited at all, and he just told her that they were both too young to be starting a family, reminding her that their careers would also have to be put on pause. Ultimately, she decided not to have the baby, something that she claims to be the most devastating decision of her life. Now, part of the memoir revealed this about Britney and Justin, but another part revealed what exactly this man did to break up with Britney. The breakup happened while Britney was on set for the overprotected Dark Child remix music video in LA, but towards the end of the second day of filming, the director Chris Applebaum told Page Six that Spears suddenly went missing for almost an hour. The director found Britney in her trailer on the floor with her legs crossed, bawling her eyes out while her makeup just slowly fell down her face. She said nothing but showed him the text that she got from Justin that just said, "It's over." Following the breakup, Justin wrote and released the song Cry Me a River based on his experience with Britney, claiming that she had cheated on him while they were together, something that she actually confirmed in her book that did happen with a choreographer named Wade Robson. Number 7. Jamie Spears. Britney's father Jamie has had a complex relationship with his daughter for the most of her life, and that is putting it lightly. In her memoir, she shared the harsh judgment she constantly got from her father, explaining that she thought getting criticized for her body in the press was bad. It hurt even more when it was coming from her own father. He repeatedly told her that she looked heavy and that she really needed to do something about it. She explained that even as a small child, he never gave her the love or attention that she needed. She said that feeling like you are never good enough is a soul-crushing state for a young child. He drummed that message into her growing up, and even after she accomplished so much, he continued to make her feel like dirt. Jamie's wild opinions about Britney got so much worse when she was under her conservatorship. Under the conservatorship, Jamie was named as one of the several people in her life that could make important decisions for her mind, body, and soul. She was forced to grow her recently shaved hair back out and go back into shape. For 13 years, that man remained in control of her life right up until the suspension in 2021. Number 6. Yeet the parents. Following the end of her conservatorship, Britney was able to make decisions for herself again, taking full control over her mind, her body, and her soul. And one of the first decisions that she made was to drop her family from her life entirely. The moment of realization came when she went to visit her parents in 2021. According to Britney, they had stopped answering their phones, so she decided to drive out and see what was up. During the visit, she learned that her beloved Madame Alexander doll collection that she got when she was growing up was thrown away by her family. She also came to find that multiple years of writing had been trashed, including binders full of poems that could have occupied their own book. She decided if they were ready to throw her away, then she was going to do the same thing to them. Number 5. Christina Aguilera. Despite Christina Aguilera's publicly advocating for Britney and her ex Justin to get back together, behind closed doors she felt the exact opposite. Britney and Christina grew close after meeting on set of the Mickey Mouse Club. As time went on, they became close, and Christina was well aware of the pain caused by Justin during and after the relationship. Despite seeing the pain firsthand, she decided to team up with Justin for the Justified and Stripped tour in 2003, only 1 year after the split. They were together on the cover of Rolling Stones in a manner that made the room steamy when you read it. Britney revealed that she was mad at Christina for a very long time, admitting that she was jealous that Christina was free to party and see people while she was forced to sit back and watch. In the early 2000s, the two had a semi-public rivalry. Christina would regularly bash Britney and make claims like she was a lost little puppy backstage at the 2003 Video Music Awards. Number 4. Conservatorship. As many people know, Britney was placed under a psychiatric hold in 2008 following what we will call a difficult evening, and was later placed under a conservatorship by her father. In her book, she explained what she had been going through at the time, saying that shaving her head and acting out were ways of pushing back. Under the conservatorship, she was made to understand that those days were now over. She had to grow her hair back, get back into shape, she went to bed early, and took whatever medication she was told to. Britney revealed that she felt like an infant under the conservatorship and lost her passion for music. She explained that she started to feel more like a thing on stage rather than a person. In her book, she said that she had always felt music was in her bones, but her family stole it from her. She reminded readers of the contrast between male and female artists, telling them to think of all the male artists who gambled their money away, who had substance control issues or mental health issues, anything like that, but many of them have never had control of their bodies or money taken away. Before the book was released, people were just under the impression that the conservatorship was more of a financial and mental kind of thing, but as the book revealed, it is a lot darker than that, and we'll probably learn a lot more once it's actually released out into the public. Number 3, why she shaved her head. In 2007, many people believed that Britney had just kind of snapped. Her rage was nothing more than celebrity-induced psychosis, right? No. But in her memoir, Britney revealed what exactly prompted the public meltdown. She was in the midst of a painful divorce with Kevin Federline, and she was constantly bombarded by paparazzi. She wrote that she had been eyeballed up and down for her entire life, with people telling her what they thought of her physical features constantly. Shaving her head was an act of defiance. It was a way of pushing back. The shaving took place only a day after she was released from a rehab facility in Antigua, which, it just didn't help the case that she was trying to make. A year later, the conservatorship was put into place. As part of the new rule, she was forced to grow her hair back out and was made to take the medications to help speed up the process. Number 2. Robot. When speaking about her conservatorship, Britney described how the 13-year ordeal made her feel like she was her father's little robot at his beck and call. She outed her father as being a terrible human being, but we've already talked about that. He stole a lot of money and stuff from her and threw out her dolls. He's great. Britney said that feeling like she wasn't enough was a message that her father made sure to drum into her skull growing up, writing that she became a sort of robot, becoming so infantilized that she was losing pieces of what made her herself. Although her body and finances were being controlled by her father, she was deemed well enough to work in what the former estate conservator called a hybrid business model. She writes that the estate controlled who her friends were, where she could go, and logged her every purchase down to drinks from Buc-ee's. She also said in court that she had been forced to take baby control pills and medication against her will. And at number 1, being a mom. Britney was placed into a conservatorship after having kids with her ex-hubby Kevin Federline. In her memoir, she revealed that one of the main reasons she went along with the terms of her conservatorship was so that she could see her kids, Sean and Jaden. According to Britney, she did everything in her power to get out of this conservatorship or work around the rules somehow, but unfortunately she was unsuccessful. Kevin was given sole custody of the younglings in 2008 after Britney was hospitalized when she locked herself in a bathroom with her sons and refused to give them back to their father. They made a deal, according to her, freedom for naps. She was given permission to visit and cuddle the kiddos every once in a while. At the same time she revealed this information, Britney also shared that they brought her comfort in a time when she was forced to be very uncomfortable. After her father forced her into 2 psychological assessments where they physically pinned her to a gurney, she realized that she could do nothing to stop them from doing anything to her physical body, so she had to start figuring out what to do mentally. Her kids brought her a sense of calmness that she was able to hold on to and use to get through a really tough time.